from the campus of Moanalua High School.
In association with Menimac.
Featuring the latest highlights.
Giving voices
to stories untold.
We are Now Loading News.
Aloha and welcome to Now Loading News. I'm Austin and I'll be your host for this month's show. In this February edition of Now Loading News, we'll be watching our submissions from the Student Television Network Convention, featuring our mini documentary about essential work. We'll tell the story of a puppet teacher, meet a Hawaii resident with a great appreciation for the outdoors, visit a record store, and talk story with our staff members who competed. That's what's next on Now Loading News. In February, 7 of our Now Loading News staff competed in the annual Student Television Network Convention. Unlike many other years, Now Loading News took on the competition from here at home. This year's STN convention turned into an online convention due to the unsteady COVID cases, giving students around the nation the opportunity to share stories and compete safely in the comforts of their cities. The first category we entered was a Crazy 8's documentary, where the team had to produce a mini documentary within an 8-hour time limit. Let's see how our team portrayed the prompt essential work with the essence of aloha.
Essential work is so different for us here because we're an island.
In Hawaii, as a community, with the aloha that we have here, we as Hawaii, we just want to show our love and aloha for everyone.
Essential work to me is being of service. It is knowing that the work that you are doing is larger than yourself.
Everybody has their different parts as being essential workers by helping out in the community and be whatever situation it may be. We're always out there trying to just help anybody, and that's what Hawaii is made to be.
Supporting community, working together collaboratively, I find is an essential part of survival.
Keeping everyone, uplifted within Hawaii is... I've never been a part of something like that, and I think that it's just like it's just the coolest thing ever. Okay. So defining essential work to me is anything that's going to help the community, help people. So making masks are essential.
I've been sewing masks to help keep the community, my families, my workmates safe. In the beginning it was kind of like, I'm gonna help the community, and now it's just, just out of my heart, just donating it.
To come to a gym, and it doesn't matter, doesn't matter where you start, doesn't matter what you're doing. The fact that everyone can say, good job, keep it going, or be there to help you.
Why are gyms essential as the frontline workers and stuff? Gyms are essential because we keep you out of the doctor's office.
There really is one essential job, and it is to help the community, and then that's how it is in Hawaii. Like for me, making masks, I feel is very essential because it keeps you safe.
This network that we work with and us being of service to one another is something that is essential. So for us to feed people in their community and meet them where they're at, to me that's an essential way of us functioning as a system together, is by supporting one another. So when the pandemic first hit Hawaii, my husband and I realized that there was going to be a lot of people without food, and simultaneously there was going to be a lot of restaurants with ingredients that were going to go to waste. And then we connect with the communities and give those meals away to keiki and kapuna.
The saying is we're one big ohana. We're not related, but we'll see somebody who needs help, especially the times, COVID times, we're willing to just go out there and go and love them. Ohana, and be, an essential worker. Not necessarily an essential worker, but that's what we do to help the community.
You're proud. That's the love. And that's the love that we can't explain to anybody. That it's very hard to explain that to other people, right?
Let's see if this fits. The way the government labels the different roles of being non-essential and essential, I think everybody should be considered essential workers as a whole, because we are somehow helping the community right here.
And at the end of the day, us all working together, I think is an essential part of us thriving.
It's understanding where we came from. And that's why here in Hawaii we have such a stronger sense of service, is because we know that it is our duty, it is our kuleana, our responsibility to honor those that gave everything for us to do this today.
That documentary was so much fun to produce. Although it was stressful trying to find stories and put them all together, it was interesting to meet all the different people and see their perspective on essential work. A big part of the STN convention are the individual competitions with groups. The next category Now Loading News competed in is a Telestory category, where my partner Stella and I were given interviews and B-roll. From there, we had to make a news package out of it. Let's see how we chose to pursue the story.
Let me get a puppet. All right. So
Edna Bland, a teacher at Millennium Middle School, puts the art of puppetry in the spotlight.
I wanted an after-school club for puppetry. They started turning into a performance team. It grew like you wouldn't believe.
Stage direction isn't the only thing that these students are learning.
And so by them working in groups to create a show, that group dynamic is something that they absolutely need. They're at that age where there's so much confusion in their life, and they have to understand human qualities, human life, human issues and situations.
While students love to put on a show, Bland makes sure that they can be their true selves behind the curtain too.
And so there are just times where you need to just say, it's going to be all right. I want you to just come here and sit with me. And if you want to talk to me, okay. If not, you just want to sit here, that's okay.
For Student Television Network, I'm Jade Batad reporting.
Great work, Stella and Jade. I cannot believe you guys pulled that off in just 4 hours. The next category that we competed in was Nat Package, where my partner Tiare and I had just 5 hours to produce a Nat sound-driven story. Our prompt was The Great Outdoors, and we portrayed this prompt through Bridget Meadows, a Hawaii resident who through living in Hawaii learned about culture and the connection to land. Let's see more with Made to Be Outdoors.
I definitely think that I was made to be outdoors, but I moved here to Hawaii in 2003 to go to school, and that's when I really fell in love with the great outdoors and just anything outside, like just being outside and hiking, walking on the beach. I would define the great outdoors as anything, just outside. The outdoor activities I do mainly is hiking. I like to take my kids on hikes, the easier ones, but I also love paddleboarding and kayaking and snorkeling and anything that's just outdoors I'm down to do. I didn't realize or appreciate and how much it increased my quality of life. Being outside makes me feel better because, you get to go and experience nature and just being out there and seeing different things. I think people in Hawaii, it's harder once you live here. We have to make a living in order to survive here. But I think if there's a will, there's a way. I think the most important things that Great Outdoors has given me is just a sense of love and respect for the land, and being in Hawaii and learning about the Hawaiian culture and how much they use the land, love the land, and really respect the land is huge, and everything is so important that is on the land.
I have to say, Nat Package is one of the hardest categories to compete in, and they put it off with only 2 members. Awesome job, you guys. The last and final category we competed in was Spot Feature. I competed in this category with my group members Gianna and Demi under the prompt Knowledge Sharing. We told the story of a record store who thrives on sharing information through music. Here is the power of music.
Located in central Kaka'ako, the sound of old vinyl fills the Ideas Music and Bookstore, both from the speakers and customers.
People come in, they listen to music, like Oliver's playing all the new music of the day right now on the stereo. They ask about it, talk about it. So musically, there's a lot of sharing going on.
Brain says relax. I think somewhere like Ideas really cultivates the idea of knowledge and sharing of knowledge and experiences through books and music.
Customers come in and they are looking for certain artists that they want to discover, and Sheriff Norm or me is here, and we're here to share the knowledge and share with the community music that needs to be rediscovered.
Even though the pandemic hit, the store feels that the shutdown hasn't affected the sales.
Well, the government shut us down for 3 months because we're not considered an essential business. But when people are in the pandemic and they have to stay home more, they read books, maybe they listen to music more.
This is Demi Clark reporting for the Student Television Network.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I had a lot of fun producing that story with my team members. Running around Kaka'ako looking for a story sure was stressful, but it worked out in the end. Regardless of where STN was held this year, our staff pushed through the differences and continued to tell stories. Up next, we're going to talk story with the Now Learning News staff and see what they learned from this year's STN.
This year's STN convention was a very good learning experience, and it was something very different compared to how it used to be.
This year was the first year that we entered mini documentaries, so there was about 3 different groups that filmed in all different locations. And it was really important that we trusted each other and made sure that we were kind of communicating and trusting that each group was fulfilling their responsibility and getting to film what they needed and editing their sequences to the best of their ability.
As fun as this experience was, it was super stressful and super hectic. With the deadline that needed to be met and all the things that needed to get done, things got really crazy at times and time flew really quickly.
What I learned during this year's STN was how to take cinematic shots and how to find stories in a timely manner.
Something that I learned from this year's STN convention is to plan more efficiently. I want to plan out my whole schedule with the times next to it and subtract about 15-20 minutes before each deadline or point that I want to hit throughout my competition so that I'm always ahead of schedule, or if I run into a problem, then I have some time to back myself up and hopefully still meet the deadline in time.
Teamwork and communication is so crucial. If we're not constantly working together and communicating with each other, we wouldn't be able to know if we're all on the same page. And for something like this, it's important for us to all be on the same page so we can work together to create something that we're proud of and is of quality.
Like, I know it was my first time, but looking at other previous years, there was traveling, man on the street interviews, and so forth. But even though I didn't get to experience it, I would say I had a really fun time, especially working with the upperclassmen. I learned much more about storytelling, editing, filming, and the overall media production. But overall, I can't wait to do it again next year, and hopefully there will be traveling.
And even though it was very stressful at times, it was so fun, and especially working with all these people in our program. It's something that I would plan on doing in the future again, and they really just made my first time doing this so much more enjoyable, and I've learned so many new skills that I hope to implement in our next STN.
From this year's STN, I learned that stories are everywhere, whether it be locally or even at home. I'm glad that we had the opportunity to share the stories untold here from Oahu. That being said, this concludes this special episode of Now Loading News. Feel free to keep in touch with us by following our Instagram at MOHS_broadcast. If you'd like to contact us, you can find our information on our website. On behalf of the Now Loading News team, mahalo for tuning in, and we hope you have a great month. I'm Austin Ariola. The loading is now complete.